It's Tuesday. That means McCollum on business here. And I'm Stephen McCollum. And for the next 30 minutes or so, I'm going to get you updated on what's happening around the business world. And we'll look at Market Watch, stocks we're paying attention to, plus national and local stories that you need to know as well. And obviously, the big news and moving the markets right now, well, that Iran war situation or Iran U.S. situation over there in the Middle East. Kind of got updates on that. But first, let's get into that Market Watch. Big movements today. Oil is tanking today around the markets, and that means stock markets are kind of doing a nice little uptick here today. 194 points up right now for the Dow Jones, 49,155. The S&P 500 is up 51 points, 72.49 for that. The NASDAQ, well, also up today. Everything's just with the oil prices is way up, 225 points, 25,294. Russell 2K, well, you can see that's a big too, 30 points right now to 28.28. It's not just oil pullback, right? The oil stocks, the oil prices going down. It's also strong earnings reports by a lot of companies here yesterday as well. So market overall going into it today, excellent. Bitcoin, look at this, hit at 80,000 over the weekend, came down a little bit to that 78,000 yesterday, back up to 81,434 right now for Bitcoin, as it's found a nice little area here in the 80,000 range for Bitcoin here this morning on this Tuesday. Stocks we're paying attention to right now, well, bunch of them out there. Some of them will be stocks, but we're going to start first with Anheuser-Busch InBev. You know, Budweiser parent company, tons of alcoholic beverages they serve, 7.75% up right here this morning. They reported quarterly earnings and beat also on their revenue side. They are 97 cents per share. The expectation was only 89 cents per share. They came in at $15.27 billion. Expectation was only $14.87 billion. 7.83% up here today for Anheuser-Busch InBev based off of those huge numbers that they had and announced yesterday. Then you got Paramount Skydance. Obviously, all eyes are on them with this Warner Brothers Discovery, trying to close that deal. Well, they're down 5.08% here today as well. They posted first quarter adjusted earnings of 23 cents per share. The expectation was only 15 cents per share. They came in with revenue of $7.35 billion. Estimates were only $7.28 billion in revenue. They beat their numbers here, and they're down 5.30% here this morning in early trading, about 30 minutes into the trading time frame here. Paramount Skydance down despite hitting those numbers. And then let's go with the company that has a big footprint here in the Chandler area here in Arizona, and that's Intel. They're up 9.50% here today. Bloomberg came out. Bloomberg reported, of course, citing sources, that Apple has held early-stage talks with Intel about using Intel's chip-making services. Bloomberg reported that Apple has also had exploratory talks with Samsung Electronics as well. So Intel, obviously, if you land an Apple contract, that means big sales for you there. 9.77% up Intel based off of that news. Later on, when we come back and look at stocks out there, well, we're going to look at that language learning app, Duolingo. They're in the news today. On Semiconductor, another local company with ties here to Phoenix. On Semiconductor, we're going to look at. And then Fidelity National Information Services. Yes, that company is, working with a certain AI company that's trying to find some things for bankings. We'll tell you about that here coming up as well later on in the show. But first, right, the Iran war, oil prices down. There was some missiles flying around yesterday. Iran did apparently attack UAE yesterday. Everybody says the ceasefire is still in effect, though. Well, that's causing the oil prices to drop. A oil tanker was escorted through the Strait of Hormuz by U.S. military. So oil prices are down here today, and that's the big story. So we'll move away from that and focus on local stuff here in the United States. And that's simple. Well, we got to talk about, because we talk about how hard it is to buy a house or sell a house in today's market. Well, now we're finding out foreclosures rose to the highest level in 6 years in the first quarter of 2026. Homeowners are being squeezed by rising costs related to insurance, property tax bills, affecting homeowners negatively here as well. We've told you before here at McCollum on Business Insurance, home insurance, it's up over 48% over the last couple years as well. The Wall Street Journal reported from data from Adam, and it shows the number of U.S. properties with the foreclosure filing. It's trended up to nearly 119,000 in the first quarter. Now, that's an increase from 26% from the same period here in 2025, a year ago. The figure is the highest since the first quarter of 2020. That was when mortgage relief measures implemented to mitigate the economic impact of COVID shutdowns led to that steep decline in foreclosures. That's basically where your lender had to work with you because they didn't want the properties either. Analysts, on the other hand, well, they're noting that the current foreclosure rate, even though it sounds high and is being reported as high, they say it represents a return to what were normal levels of foreclosure prior to the COVID pandemic. So they're saying that's not really a sign of borrowers becoming increasingly distressed financially. That's what the critics say of those numbers out there. The journal's report, though, said that although many homeowners have low mortgage rates, rising costs for things like home insurance, property taxes, dues for homeowners associations, those are going up big as well because of water and electricity pricing, for instance, repair costs. Those are all ramping up the spending on bills. And people with fixed income or people that could afford the mortgage when they bought it, all of a sudden that's pushing it to unsustainable levels. So a report by Insurify, well, they found the average annual bill for homeowners insurance, like I told you before, was just in 2025 was up 12% since 2024 as well. And it's something like 48% over the last several years, as I said earlier. So now home insurance, well, it's up to $2,948 in 2025 as well. It showed the average property tax burdens are up 3%. It's now at $4,427 for property tax on your houses as well. Homeowners who are facing financial distress and the risk of slipping in delinquency or foreclosure, well, you have fewer options for relief than what was available a few years ago. All the pandemic era programs, they've been sunsetted out. They're not available anymore. But this uptake does cover the full portfolio of mortgages as well. This is the shocking thing to me. It's not people that have bought at a higher interest rate. It's not people that have bought with the market being high, right? As well. No, a large group of borrowers who took out loans before 2022, that means most of them have mortgage rates of 4% or lower. They're the largest amount of foreclosed properties happening right now as well. That's the shocking thing to me. It's not the newer buyers that how to buy at a higher rate, et cetera, out there. It's the ones that have those lower interest rates and have had the properties for a while now as well. Now, I always like this one too. You're going to make us be safe with kids? Well, we're going to take our product away from you. Yeah, that's the giant crybaby signal and cry here coming from Meta. Yeah, Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram parent company. Yeah, they're actually threatening to cut off access to those social media platforms, specifically in New Mexico, all because of the response to the New Mexico's legal effort to compel changes to child safety protocols in the platform. You want us to protect kids? We won't have our software there anymore. That's quite the take by Meta, right? So, if you guys know, Meta in the state of New Mexico, well, they're expected to proceed to the second stage of their trial next week. That was the one where the jury recently issued a $375 million award to the state. They found that Meta misled consumers about the safety of its platforms and protections for children against sexual predators. This next phase of the trial will concern what actions the Meta did here as well, and the actions they must take to address those issues of what they've been found guilty of by that jury. So New Mexico is seeking a lot of remedies. Well, one of them is to impose a requirement that Meta meet a 99% accuracy threshold in verifying that children on its platform are at least 13 years old. Meta has pushed back on that requirement, saying in a court filing that it's unfeasible. It would require it to comply with impossible obligations. I agree. 99% level, people find ways to jump around those requirements and get around them out there. And VPNs, for instance, you can just switch it to another side. But 99%, to me, that does seem a little high. But that's a part of the negotiation, right? That you could be looking at. Meta's legal team, as you excuse my computer, just decided to start talking. Meta's legal team said in a filing that New Mexico's, quote, requests for relief are so broad and burdensome that if implemented, it might force Meta to withdraw its apps entirely from the state of New Mexico as an alternative way of complying with the injunction, unquote. You want us to protect kids? We'll shut down. You won't have access to our stuff. We'll make the kids safe by not being available to them. Yeah, they went on to say it does not make economic or engineering sense for Meta to build separate apps just for New Mexico residents. I don't know, Meta. Here, let me throw this out to you. Maybe make your app safe for everybody in the United States. You don't have to do a specific New Mexico app. You can do an app for the whole United States that makes and protects kids. I don't know. What am I talking about? Meta's lawyers went on to say, nor could Meta guarantee the perfection of states' demands, making it impractical for Meta to operate in New Mexico. Well, won't be surprised here. New Mexico had a response. New Mexico Attorney General Raul Torres, he said, Meta is showing the world how little it cares about child safety. Meta's refusal to follow the laws that protect our kids tells you everything you need to know about the company and the character of its leaders. Fantastic response. We know Meta has the ability to make these changes. For years, the company has rewritten its own rules, redesigned its products, and even bent to the demands of dictators to preserve market access. That's not about technology capability. Meta simply refuses to place the safety of children ahead of engagement, advertising revenue, and profit. New Mexico is spot on that. Meta, like down in Brazil, Meta in China, they're very strict regulations, and they're able to do that stuff no problems, and it's feasible for them to do that. I don't know. I don't know where Meta woke up and said it'll be safer if we just take our stuff away. It makes me laugh a little bit as well. See where that goes coming up. Union board members representing the television and movie actors, if I can speak. Well, they're set this week to review a tentative contract deal with studios and streaming services. We told you some writers had their union make an agreement, about a week ago or so. But now this has kind of been wrapped up quickly and quietly as well. This agreement was announced on Saturday. It still must be approved by the board of the Screen Actors Guild. American Federation of Television and Radio Artists has to be ratified by a member vote as well. If both of those things that do happen, well, they are expected to this time. The industry will avoid that repeat of the 2023 actor and writer strikes that, almost took down the entertainment industry right after those COVID years. This year's negotiations were drama-free, unlike last time. More strikes never really appeared to be in the cards. Moving forward, just everybody wanted to settle this. So this was announced in a joint statement from SAG-AFTRA and the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers. They represent a coalition of Hollywood's major studios, streamers, and production companies. On Saturday, we don't know the exact details of it yet because they say it has to be ratified before they put it out there. But it looks like Hollywood's avoiding these strikes. And by the way, they usually sign a 3-year contract. That's why it just feels like, did they just go on strike recently? Well, it was 3 years ago. The other side of it is, rumor has it that this is a 4-year contract moving forward instead of the 3s. So a little bit of a pause here, but no major strikes coming. So that means movies, television shows will keep being produced accordingly. And, Roombas, the iRobot company, well, it's filed for bankruptcy. Amazon abandoned its bid, kind of gone away. And the guy that he was an iRobotics pioneer, right? He helped unleash that Roomba vacuum. He's now betting you may want to one day replace, your pet, right? Your dog or your cat with a plush robot that follows you around your home and even adapts to your daily habits. Yes, his name is Colin Engel. He unveiled a 4-legged prototype of that artificial pet. Sorry, that picture makes me laugh a little bit. It's called Familiar, is what this robot is called. He unveiled it yesterday. He says, imagine the creature the size of a bulldog with doe-like eyes and bear cub ears and paws, extending itself into a greeting stretch that invites you to pat its touch-sensitive fake fur. Yes, this is a lifelike machine and it's powered by the latest artificial intelligence technology. He said that as of 6 months ago, this was not possible. But artificial intelligence has gotten to the level it's gotten to that now makes it possible for him to have a prototype of this animal, robot animal. The challenge is to make something that's not a watch me toy, is what he said in an interview with the Associated Press. He went on to say, quote, this is about having something you want to hug, you want a pet, and when it's happy, that makes you happy. And it's large enough or mobile enough to follow you to the kitchen or drag you off the couch and take a walk, unquote. You know, like a pet, like a dog. Engel said the robot will make emotive animal-like sounds, but it won't talk. Yeah, because we all need talking dogs in our life. We all know they talk when we're not there. But mimicking the real pet, it has audio input ears and an AI system that can understand and learn from what you say to it. It benefits from the advances in generative AI, which, chatbots like ChatGPT and those are what, are generative AI products. They can gradually adapt its behavior as it learns from the people around it. Now, it's not for sale. Could be a while before it's for sale. But one target demographic, well, retired people. Like people that, don't want to get a dog if they're not sure they're going to be around for the next 6 to 8 to 10 years or be able to take care of it, for instance, or a cat to live forever for that. So people that are past the peak age of pet ownership, the elderly, this is kind of the market it's going to be going towards as well. So there you go, folks. Robot pet coming your way, being developed right now out there as well. And well, heads up here for you out there, especially if you have elderly. Now, a lot of young people get hit with these things as well, these scams. So don't just say, oh, they're young, they won't be hit with it. Be aware of this as well, because it is high alert out there. There are banking spoof calls that could trick you into emptying your bank accounts. Scammers are posing as banking or law enforcement officials who claim they are trying to protect your money when they contact you. Now, the FBI is involved with this, and they said they described these calls as growing problem which customers are convinced to move their money. And then, of course, you lose your money when you do that as well. So they're designed, as I said, to trick you into providing sensitive information. Your bank PIN numbers, passwords to these online accounts, as well as what they're trained to do. So these, you should report, by the way, if you do get, even if it's a phone call and you don't fall for it, you should report these to the FBI and the Internet Crime Complaint Center out there so they can track them and look at them as well. So, I mean, people are losing 40, 60, $80,000 or more with these types of calls as well. So they were pretending to call from her bank's number, from somebody's bank's number, for instance. And they said they were bank employees trying to access the accounts as well. Some were representing the bank, some were representing the FBI when they were talking to the people out there as well. So you lose your money, then you have to report it. Obviously, you lose your money, which is terrible as well. Things to that effect. So just be aware of that. It is upticking right now, and people are falling for it in several money. Now, the other side of it is, it's not just banks now, right? Zelle, Venmo. Those are very easy for people to transfer money out. You can convince somebody, oh, just go to Venmo and send it to this number, right? And it's set up in your name. Just transfer it to this number, and you just transfer a large sum of money over as well to keep the money, quote unquote, safe, is what they say. So keep that in mind, especially for people that don't understand how that stuff works out there. It's on the uptick. And the FBI is out there telling people be on the lookout for it because it is hitting astronomical numbers right now as well and being reported higher and more as we're here in the month of May of 2026. And when we come back here, well, we'll get into some local stories. There's an Arizona business helping sellers affected by that painted tree closures that are happening out there. There's a Porter Airlines. Well, if you want to go to Canada, you have some more options here coming up. Waymo. I saw one of these a couple weeks ago, a week ago or so. New vehicle out there as well. We'll talk about that. If I can pronounce the name properly, it'd be interesting to see what I can do there and everything. So come on back. McCollum on Business, Tuesday edition. And we're back here. Of course, you just saw the commercial for The Real Matrix. Fridays, of course, noon on Rumble is where you can find that show. Free on demand, of course, free podcast as well. Just search The Real Matrix, Angry Patriot. It pops right up for you on your favorite podcast system. But all of our programming on rumble.com/user/TME media is where you can find that. Rumble's working on the search platform, and I'm not sure if you can search for it yet, so that's how you have to type it in order to get it. Of course, you can follow TME Media AZ on X, and that'll give you, we'll put posts out occasionally on how to find our Rumble programming out there. Everything but The Real Matrix, well, it's over on YouTube as well. You want to follow that for live programming on demand programming, plus some special stuff we have planned coming up for not necessarily shows, but one-off things. I don't know, maybe some movie reviews coming that way, maybe some other things coming up on that as well. You're going to want to follow that YouTube page, TME Media AZ, as well, for you out there. Of course, we're live here, Robat TV, as well as on the YouTube page. We appreciate you joining us. Of course, as soon as we're done here, we get everything up on demand, and then we go right into the main event here, 8 to 10 a.m. You can catch us, Robat TV, on the YouTube page as well. 8 to 10 a.m., me and 17-year NFL veteran Del Hellestrade get you through this Tuesday. Bruce Cooper comes in on Tuesdays as well, so we expect to see him in later on as well, folks. Don't forget the Pit Stop be out Wednesday for you as well on demand on all the YouTube, the Rumble, rumble.com/user/TME media, and, of course, free podcast systems. And follow the racing program at the Pit Stop Talk. You can search the Pit Stop Talk on your favorite podcast system, or just search the Pit Stop with Steven, and it pops right up for you. We appreciate all you guys do to support us out there. Share us with your friends as there's some more options to watch us out there. We do have other options as well. For those of you that have reached out and said, it's hard to watch it while I'm driving to work. Love to, but it's hard to do. I can put it on. I can listen to it. Well, we might have some things coming up for you here over the next month or two that will help you with that, more like a radio type thing or an app on your phone. Working on that right now. We'll have to see what fruition comes on that. But, folks, we appreciate all of your support. Share us with your friends out there. We'd appreciate it. And with all that being said, let's get back into that Market Watch. As we said at the top of the show, oil prices are down. Big pullback in oil. Strong earnings results out there. We've already covered several of them here. Tons of them out there. Most of them good, to be honest with you, in terms of hitting their numbers, all meaning a good day on the market here today. Papa Mike, of course, comments in and he says, "Go S&P." It made me laugh there. 266 points up for the Dow Jones. S&P 500 is up to 57 points right now as well. NASDAQ continuing to go up, 246 points up for the NASDAQ. Russell 2K up 44 points right now for that small cap index. Bitcoin, well, above 80,000 officially here today. Went over the weekend, pulled back a little bit yesterday on Monday. 81,422 for Bitcoin today. Stocks we're paying attention to right now. Well, let's go with the language learning app called Duolingo. Down 6.97% right now. Their problem is they reported monthly active users below estimates for the first quarter. Duolingo said it saw 137.8 million active users. Well, the expectations was 145.6 million, as what they were expecting. That's half the population of the United States, by the way, roughly half as well. It expects second quarter bookings of $284 million. Well, disappointing to the market because they were expecting $295 million. So Duolingo, disappointing those investors out there, like your dad. Duolingo is just upsetting their parents right now. Yeah, disappointment out there. 7.38% down by Duolingo here today. Now let's talk a company based out of here. Lots of ties here on Semiconductor. Well, they're up 2.27% right now. They were down when the market opened earlier today, about an hour ago. Well, up now, 2.15%. Their projections for second quarter revenue narrowly topped the estimates that everybody was expecting. It came in at $1.54 billion to $1.64 billion. Well, everybody was expecting $1.53 billion. So they did project above it, just barely above it on that lower end. Top and bottom line results in the first quarter did surpass expectations for this company. Well, they're up right now, 2.54% for them. And then there's a company called Fidelity National Information Services. They're down 0.42% right now. You can see big sell-off since the market's opened. Started up, it was up about 5% when the market opened today. Well, down now, 0.53%. They said they're partnering with Anthropic, that AI company. They're developing new artificial intelligence tools for banks. What are they starting with for these tools? Well, an agent surveilling for financial crimes. So they're working with Anthropic to develop ways to find people manipulating the bank systems out there. Well, market was happy with it earlier, 5%, but now 0.51% down for this company as well. And, let's get into some local stories here out there and, some interesting things happening. Well, for those of you that liked shopping at the Painted Tree boutiques that have since shut down, for those of you that were selling there at least a little bit, they're Painted Tree boutiques. Well, there's another option out there, so I wanted to pass that along to you as well. Back in April, Painted Tree Boutiques was officially closed all throughout the country as well. It's a chain that basically consists of more than 60 stores across the U.S. What those stores did was they leased space to small vendors, craft people, etc. Well, they closed their doors last April 13th as well. If you remember in an email to vendors and employees, Painted Tree blamed rising costs, shifting market conditions, and they blame the changing retail landscape for their woes. Well, now there's another company out there. It's been out there, but they're getting a lot of business. It's called the Collective Market. There are a couple of them here in the Valley as well. 2 locations dedicated to featuring, obviously, local artists. But they're taking in even more business because of Painted Tree's closure at that time. So there is another option for you out there. I wanted to make sure. And if you like to peruse local vendors and people that make things on their own, well, here's your other option for you as well. So they said, the Collective Market said, we have had a massive influx of small businesses reaching out. And they said, what we're telling our team, our managers, and everyone is we're going to be bringing in as many small businesses as possible, is their philosophy moving forward. So now they want to make sure that it's a good fit to go in there as well. They're expecting three more. They have already had two moved in. They're expecting three more to set up shop at the collective later on this week as well. So they have belt vendors who sell everything from clothing to home decor, even like treats and things, suckers, etc. I think I saw. So lots of unique items, usually made by these people, more of a craft type thing out there. So I just wanted to let you guys know there is a substitute for painted tree boutiques out there for those of you interested in that. And if you're interested in flying to Canada, you have a few options here besides the big airlines, SkyWest, for instance, and now Porter Airlines. They're expanding their Phoenix winter service between Canada here and Arizona as well. So Porter Airlines will have a new daily nonstop flight from Edmonton and Calgary, the return of Vancouver service, and a second daily flight from Toronto here to Phoenix. So they announced last week that the daily Edmonton to Phoenix service will begin November 6th. Then the daily Calgary to Phoenix flights will start December 20th. They said they will resume flights between Vancouver and Phoenix and increase Toronto to Phoenix service from once daily to twice daily as well. Phoenix flights will offer connections beyond Sky Harbor through Porter's partnership with American Airlines. That's kind of why it's a good fit here into Phoenix as well. So it's all part of a larger winter schedule expansion for this company that includes new service destinations to Aruba, Jamaica, Costa Rica, and they're even flying down to Mexico now as well. So Porter said it expects to operate about 5,000 flights to sun destinations next winter. You notice the theme? Canada, get the Canadians out of Canada into sun places where it's not so cold out there in the winter as well. So this 5,000 flights will be a 150% increase compared with the previous year, last year, 2025 as well. So more options for you people going up into and from Canada here, starting this winter with Porter Airlines out of Phoenix as well. Now, the interesting thing here is let's see. I've looked it up. I know how to pronounce this, and I'm still going to screw this up. There's no doubt about it. Have you seen these new Ojai vehicles? Nailed it. For Waymo. Well, I saw one over the weekend or a week or so ago, and I remember me and I think it was my daughter were driving, and we were both like, "What is that thing?" It's a weird looking vehicle out there. And it's a blue electric Ojai vehicle. It's sixth generation autonomous technology. Has 13 cameras, four LiDAR sensors. Well, Waymo is basically coming out with these here um, in the Phoenix area. They've rolled them out in other markets here as well. So they began fully autonomous operations of the Ojai robotaxis in Phoenix. Like I said, I saw them. It was about a week or so ago, so it must have been testing happening at that time. That is heads a plan to roll out the service in these vehicles later this year, more company wide as well. These robo taxis in the valley, Waymo at least has been in the valley for many years now as well. But they're testing these Ojai robo taxis um, since last year, actually. See, there you go. There's a picture of them. You notice them. You notice the Jaguars when they're driving around. That was very noticeable. If we saw them, we were at a stoplight. It was like 10 cars in front of us. We were both like, what is that thing? Yeah. It's a Chinese electric vehicle, by the way, as well. It's a blue electric front seat robotaxi designed in partnership with that Chinese automaker Geely. It was originally called the Zeekr RT. Well, Waymo rebranded the road taxis to Ojai in January. By the way, it's OJAI is how it is spelled. Pronounced Ojai, I do believe, according to my research. Waymo integrated the sixth generation Waymo driver autonomous vehicle technology in these robo taxis. So it's building on the current system, utilizing those Jaguars you see all over town now. They added new algorithms and an updated sensor array. Like I said, 13 cameras, four LiDAR security cameras as well. So they can't basically as you drive, they capture millions of data points for sharp images while offering exceptional thermal stability across automotive conditions. Basically, an improved system here to get you around town with no driver out there as well. So, they're testing them in a lot of different environments. Ones with a lot of rain, extreme winter weather, obviously here in Arizona with our heat as well, and our sunny days out there. That's why they're testing as well. So they're doing it in all these in those areas to make sure it can handle all weather conditions, and why a lot of people test here as well. So don't forget, Alphabet Inc. is Waymo is a subsidiary of Alphabet, which of course Google's parent company as well. They're going to say they're going to do, they're already assembling about 2,000 of those Jaguars that they use now over in Mesa by the end of 2026. So they have 1,500 robo taxis out in the United States in various cities now. They want another 2,000 here by the end of this year, all built here in Mesa as well. Remember that story we had told you before coming up here. So if you see these blue Waymos now, they're being tested here in Phoenix market. Trust me, folks, they're noticeable out there. They are funky looking machines. And hey, it's Tuesday, and appreciate you joining me here for McCollum on Business, of course. We'll be back tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. We'll get you started as the day goes on. Have you been in one of these Ojai cars is the big question I have for you. I'm sure it's the same ride probably as the Jaguar. I'm curious if you've been in these blue things as well. Papa Mike chimes in and says, mortgage rates. Let me sound like an old man I am. When I purchased my first house, mortgage rates were 12%, and that was normal. He said, times have really changed with 6% being considered high. Yeah, that was the thing back in the day. That was even way before my time. And no offense, Papa Mike. Didn't mean to make you sound old. Difference then also, though, houses were a lot more cheaper compared relative to what you made back then. So a 6% today is more deadly because housing prices are so high and, quite frankly, unaffordable out there. So it's a double whammy when interest rates are at 6% compared to the old days when it was at 12% back then. But it's all relative, right? I guess you can say out there. But Pop Mike, appreciate you chiming in. Guys, follow us, TME Media AZ on YouTube as well. We'll see you later. See you tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. Main event coming up at 8 o'clock, 8 to 10 as well. Come and join us, would you?